Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Tuesday afternoon. We're almost at the evening time here in Denver, Colorado. And sometimes I sit down and I think of what we're going to talk about on these live streams, right? Because the main topics we cover are energy healing and Namaste. We cover energy healing, meditation, and practical spirituality to improve the quality of your life, right? And so sometimes I have to sit down maybe for 5 or 10 minutes and think about, okay, this is the topic we could cover. But instead, today, I was actually inspired by covering a certain topic because I was doing some research. I was talking with a client, got off the phone with the client, went online, and started doing some research. And what I saw really surprised me. And so some of you may know the specialization that I partake in, if you will, is transformation. And I was looking up the word transformation, right? Looking up the definition, since it's been used since the mid 1800s. And it talks about a dramatic shift. Kathy, Namaste, talks about a dramatic shift from where somebody is to where they want to go. And in some cases, it's not even able to be planned out by another person. Like, imagine the transformation of a caterpillar, of a caterpillar, right, to a butterfly. The caterpillar doesn't have the imagination necessary of what it would be like to be a butterfly. Just like from who you are now, Denise, Namaste, who you are now, as you transform, you can't even imagine who that person will be. It's not about a little bit of improvement or a little bit of regression. Like, for instance, I can imagine what it would be like to be 10 pounds lighter. I can imagine what it would be like to have $10,000 extra in the bank. I can imagine having this car and having a slightly newer car, right? It's not even in the realm of your imagination to go from where you are to truly transform as a person and as a soul. And so I think I might have cracked the code, or at least shed a little bit of light into the space of transformation and answering the question, why is it so difficult for people to transform? Because have you noticed, day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, and in some cases, decade after decade, we tend to be very similar with our thoughts, our words, and our behaviors and actions. Have you noticed that? We seem to be running a program or a loop day in and day out. Not much changes. So, how does that pattern typically get broken up? Kate, Namaste, good to have you back on. How does that pattern typically get broken up? Crisis, chaos, destruction, right? We have a life-threatening illness, we change or transform. We have a near-death experience, traveling about the world, we transform. We have somebody very close to us, i.e., Namaste, who dies. Shrag, Namaste, that transforms us. So there's an old saying that you have to hit rock bottom in order for you to change. But if life is smooth, easy, and comfortable, we can just kind of coast through life and not transform, not have to transform, not be inspired to transform. So this leads me to, as I was on Google researching the word transformation, because I like to get an understanding of the history of the word, the etymology of the word, I also want to know the antonym of the word, the opposite word, right? And guess what I found the opposite word for transformation? Right? Guess what I found? Preservation and conservation. Think about that for a second. So the two words that are antonyms to transformation are conservation and preservation. Not a good combination if you're looking to transform into a better, greater, more evolved soul. Because if you're holding on to the past, if you're trying to conserve the past, if you're trying to preserve the past, how can you move forward? You're constantly bringing the past into your present and creating a similar future. That's why our days don't seem to be that different. That's why our years don't seem to be that different, because we're living the same experience over and over and over again, because we're trying to conserve and preserve what we have. But if you look at all the great spiritual teachers who've been teaching throughout time immemorial, is that they talk about letting go. Letting go. Letting go. Letting go of what? Letting go of old paradigms. Letting go of old ways of thinking. Adriana, namaste. Letting go of old ways of being. Letting go of old thoughts, old words, old feelings, old behaviors. Letting go of those things, because what did we learn through Grandmaster Choa Koksui, the modern founder of pranic healing and Arhatic yoga? That I am the soul, I'm not the body, I'm not the emotions, I'm not the thoughts, I'm not the mind. I am not those things. What am I? I am the soul. Well, what's the soul? Light, love, and power. The ability to create, the ability to manipulate matter or subtle energies, the ability to love and to share and to give and to be generous on all levels. That's what we are as the soul. But if we're trying to conserve and preserve and stay stuck, we don't move forward. So isn't that fascinating when you think about it? It's very simple. It's very obvious almost, but as one of my mentors has shared with me, enlightenment is noticing what's obvious, which is what Grandmaster Choa Koksui says. Enlightenment is noticing what's obvious. So we have all these people who go to personal development workshops and seminars. They read books on personal development and spiritual development. They go to podcasts, or they have audio books and audio programs on personal and spiritual development. But if they're unwilling to let go of the old story, the old beliefs, the old programs, the old things that they think they are, then how are they ever going to transform themselves into a bigger, greater instrument of goodwill and the will to do good? Now keep in mind, I'm just having this level of awareness today. I've been doing inner work and spiritual practices for 20 years. So a lot of digging into the subconscious mind, digging into beliefs, digging into the energy body, the aura, the chakras, the meridians, digging. What am I digging? I'm digging up the old. I'm digging up the no longer usable. I'm digging up congested, stagnant, stale energy from my system. Why? So more of my true self can shine through, just like you, right? The purpose of any and all meditation practices are to merge and strengthen the connection between your little self, your personality, and your big self, the I am, right? The little self and the big self. That's the purpose of all meditation and spiritual practices, is to strengthen that connection, right? And it's interesting because a saint, as I understand it, a saint, also known as an arhat in Buddhism, doesn't have to meditate. Why? Because a saint already has a high degree of oneness of their little self to their big self. So they don't need to meditate, right? So a savage needs to meditate. Why? Because there's a very, very thin, teeny tiny connection between their higher self and their lower self. Like a little thin spider web. Because think about it. You could have the most evolved, advanced soul, an ancient soul, but if the connection between the big self and the little self is teeny tiny, the energy is never going to come down. So that's why we have free will through our spiritual practices, through our purification practices, to expand that cord, that connection, to go from a teeny tiny thin spider web to maybe a straw. Brandy, Atma Namaste. Or maybe What's bigger than the straw? Anyone? A PVC pipe? Right? And then we go bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger until the connection is so strong and so consistent and so part of the moment by moment experience that quote unquote meditation is no longer necessary, because they are conduits for that energy from the higher self. So it's a beautiful experience. It's a beautiful understanding. I can assure you the spiritual path never gets boring. It can be lonesome. It can be lonesome. It can be a little bit reclusive because you have to take time to go within. A lot of time to go within. Going in, going in, going in, going in. Right? Very, very important. So I hope that helps. I hope that gives you a different perspective on the word transformation. Why it's so difficult for people to transform is because we're trying to conserve and preserve what we currently have. So how can you transform if you're holding steadfast to the past? To old beliefs, old thoughts, old feelings, old patterns of behavior. If you're holding on to those things, how can you expect to transcend and move to the next level of your development? And I think that's why people have such a hard time transforming. Food for thought. I hope it helps. That being said, if I can help you and assist you on your path of spiritual growth and development and transformation, by all means, go to ChristianRLong.com. It's my website. You can sign up for a 30-minute free consultation to find out if there's compatibility between us, right? And then moving forward, you can sign up for a distant pranic healing session and coaching session where we identify where you're stuck, why you're stuck. Then we do healing around that to transform you so you let go of the past and you can move forward into a big, bright future that may surprise you. So that is it, guys. If you guys have any questions, comments, clarifications you'd like to make right now, feel free to send a message. I'll wait. I know there's a 15 to 30 second delay on Facebook. If you like these videos, excuse me, we're uploading many of them to the YouTube channel. So you go to YouTube and type in ChristianRLong, and then I will come up. That channel will come up. And we have, I think, almost 200 videos at this point. We've done over 400 hours of content over the past 5 years. A lot of video content. It was cool being one of the first live streamers on Periscope. So many funny stories of all the people that I met on Periscope. And then we transitioned to Facebook Live, and we've been doing that ever since. And that was about 4 years ago. So that is it, guys. Thank you very much for sharing your time, your energy, your connection with me and the group. May the good karma come back to you many, many times in the form of your heart's desire. And I look forward to connecting with you, serving with you, laughing with you, healing with you along this beautiful path known as life. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant. Atma. Namaste. Bye-bye.